Now, I saw you guys on the Morbid Angel tour. We all know some of the tragedies that happened on that tour.
Oh man,
What are
yeah.
some of your takeaways? Not only with like Revocation being like they've been in the game for a while now, but Morbid Angel, death metal legends, and just touring with them. There must be so many things you guys learned as a band, just being around those guys.
Definitely, definitely. I've got so many good things out of that tour, and I'll tell you, except for that specific day of the tornado and the surrounding days, that was the best tour I've ever done. Exactly because of the package, like the bands and everything. So, okay. The first thing is like touring with Morbid Angel was on my bucket list for forever because they are the death metal band that made me get into death metal. So that was a dream come true to me, especially knowing that Trey himself liked the band and specifically suggested us to be the opening act of the tour. So
Wow.
that truly means a lot. And I'll never be able to thank him enough. He is one of a kind, and I'm so thankful for him to give us such a great opportunity. And so yeah, it was an amazing tour overall, an amazing first experience in the US for Crypta because I knew we had fans in the US already, but such a big tour was a great window of opportunity for us to showcase who we are to a larger amount of people that we would have been able to get if it was like a small, tiny headlining tour. So that was beautiful. And it was great to see the feedback from the US because I think the US are the biggest death metal scene in the whole world. So I was not sure. Like I knew from the numbers we get from royalties and streaming numbers and everything. I knew people liked us in there, but like feeling this when we were playing there, it was just great and inspiring for us to, like draw the next plans of the band. And so that was also really important. And but mainly, man, the bands, like it was the best tour because of the bands that were there. Like I've toured a lot with Crypta and with Nervosa. I mean, a lot, like big tours with some other bands. And there was never one tour where there wasn't like any beef between bands or band members. There's always a little something, always someone who's like too crazy, always like little disagreements here and there. When it came to this tour, it was perfect. Like it was perfect, perfect. Like we were all hanging out nearly every day together. We were all going to each other buses. Like the guys would go to our RV, would go to Morbid Angel's bus here and there. It was perfect. It was such a vibe. Every band was so helpful towards each other, and there was no technical like disagreements. Like we were, it was amazing. And also the thing that made us move on that tour from the terrible tragedy that happened at the Apollo Theater was the sense of brotherhood in the band, amongst the bands, because we survived that together. Because like one day one of us was feeling bad because of what happened, the other day it was the other one, so we were always there to hug each other and say supportive words and say, hey, we're doing all right, like, so we survived that as a family. And that is a valuable thing that I brought from that tour, that the sense of family between bands can really help us overcome any struggle on tour, because touring is basically facing struggles every day, even more than people think. Not in that dimension, but but anyway, so that was a beautiful thing that I took from that tour. It was just amazing. And besides that, now not relating to those bands specifically, but also an overall theme, I felt like that tour renewed my passion for metal, because like
Wow.
we got our RV destroyed. We were desperate, man. Like if we had to pay $60,000 from our pockets, which in the end were $81,000 from our
Jesus.
pockets. I mean, our currency in Brazil is fucked up. We were like, we don't know. You can buy a house with that in Brazil. So we were like, we're fucked. We're fucked. And then we got all that support, and the metal community like got together to help us. That was beautiful to see. I felt like it doesn't matter how bad it gets, metal is always going to have my back, as it has always got so far. But you get used to it, you know, like, because you're inside a death metal scene, the metal scene. So you get used to how things are. But I forgot that when we want to, we have this amazing sense of global community that can truly help, you know, like bands and everyone in need. So that tour definitely renewed my passion for metal. I and for life too, because I thought I was gonna die. For a moment, I remember hugging my drummer, lights were out, building was shaking, and I was like, I'm gonna die, man. I thought that. I
Jesus.
was like, yeah, I was like, it's been a good life so far. I was hugging my drummer, looking at her, we were screaming, and I was thinking, it's been a good life. At least I'm dying doing what I love the most. And then so I really thought I was gonna die. And so yeah, I love life a little bit more after I left there. I was like, I survived a fucking tornado, man. Not everyone was lucky enough that night to survive that. So I was like, I have enough fuel to keep on going. Now I can overcome other stuff.
Jesus Christ. And you know, beautifully said. And it's like with this new album out, it's really awesome to see that you guys, you know, got a win, you know, after all
Yeah,
this like this cursed tour. And it's really cool to hear that the community,
yeah,
metal in general has just been such a tight community, and it's really
it's
awesome. And I'm glad you guys got back on your feet. And how terrifying. Like, oh my God. But
yeah,
I'm
it
glad you
was.
guys are still a band.
We are,
Wow.
and that's the thing. Like, and that's the thing with me too. Usually with like daily routine stuff, I tend to get more, you know, like overwhelmed and annoyed or whatever. But when it comes to like big stuff like that, I always try to be still amidst chaos. And I wrote that on Lord of Ruins, our new song. And we really stood together as a band after the most horrific experience we'll probably ever go through, because I really don't want to go through anything like that again. So so yeah, it was tough, but we survived, and I think we are stronger than we were before, as people, as a band, and as a metal community, because really the community really stopped and focused on helping us and everyone on that tour, including, it was not only us, including the fans that were injured. I remember I would post daily GoFundMe pages to support the family of Fred Livingston, the fan that died. I even get a knot on my throat every time I have to talk about him dying at the show, because that's the most horrifying thing I still have to live with. And all the other injured victims, like, the metal community made sure we covered all their costs, and that was beautiful. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars raised by devoted fans, devoted metalheads all around the globe for a cause. It was beautiful to see.